Hi, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, good. I was just about to restart. It was like, oh shit, it's not working. Great. So, Kyle is in Iraq right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he was invited to this peace conference. Like they're going through some turbulence there, and then luckily the time is good. He's going to speak about personal development. So in hope, that can awake some people there to bring some peace to the country, the stuff going on with the government. That being said, I will be leading the meeting today, and I'm signing up as his.
Hi.
Before we start, there's still a few minutes. We can wait for other people to join. And can you guys see the? Let me just try this out.
Yep.
Can you see the slide share?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Looks like it's working. Great. Joshua, I know you. And the other one, I don't. What is your name, sir? I guess I know.
Matthew.
Josh. What is it?
Matthew Fusco.
Matthew. Nice to meet you, Matthew.
Nice to meet you. Mark Siegel's friend.
Ah, okay. Got it. He should be here in any minute. And now it's 7 o'clock. Why don't I start? Usually I like to start with everyone. We kind of go around, just get your intention, like what you're going through, what's your main purpose, or what you're hoping to get out of this meeting, and then I can cater the material to you, hopefully to bring more value to you guys. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just daily application for a tool for just betterment. There's the last couple of times been great. I feel like I've taken a piece of nugget away and been able to actually just apply it to the daily. Just overall manifestation. That's my thing right now.
Yeah.
You
What have you used in the past few days?
Well, the first time when you were teaching it, you gave that whole thing about seeing it from all the way to the front to the back and how it felt, sights and sounds and stuff. And I did that. Ended up getting that sale that day. It was amazing. And I just kind of rode that high throughout the week of just being able to do that. And then the last time was like the computer screens and just being able to have all these like things that can pop up for you when you need them. And I've just been using those, every day and just kind of just remembering this stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. Sure. And wow, thank you, Josh. And Matthew, why don't you kind of like have a brief introduction of yourself so we can meet you, and also your intention of from NLP or this meeting today.
Okay. I'm on Long Island, New York. Matthew Fusco. First time hearing anything about NLP. I am in Sandler sales, so they do a little bit of it for the last 20-something years. But Mark had, asked me to come on, and I thought it'd be great to, basically hear in general how everything works. I'm not really sure.
So you kind of like keep open-minded. You heard about it. It's kind of interesting, and you just kind of like getting to know more about it.
Yeah, I know it's great. I know it works. I just never went to a class or was in a meeting with NLP.
Great, welcome. Wouldn't it be great to know exactly how it works and achieve the results, like how other people are achieving, like the success you want?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to hear more. Yeah.
Great, beautiful. And Claudia, welcome. Claudia, so we're just going around and then kind of like a brief introduction of yourself so everyone can meet you. And also, what's your intention from today's meeting or NLP in general?
Well, I'm a photographer and a holistic therapist, and all my life I've been working with people. And and I see that I want to help, and sometimes I get that little moment, but I would like to be able to really be able to help people and know what I am doing. But then when I listen to Carl class, I realized, wow, there are so many things that I need to change in myself, and I was impressed by the fact that it's just a programming. So first of all, I want to do it for myself, and then be able to help a lot of people.
That's beautiful. Yeah, usually, when you experience yourself, and first of all, it's benefit to yourself, and secondly, once you know how to do it on yourself, you have the confidence to do it on other people. And you also know like what kind of benefits you can bring into their life, what kind of healing power you can give them. So that's very powerful. Yeah, that's great. And who else do we have here? Mark?
Hey, good morning.
Mark?
Hey, doing, Matthew? Good to see you.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Thanks.
Joshua, Claudia.
Morning.
Yeah, and NLP is a great tool for helping people. I've been using it since 1995, and it's so helpful in coaching people. It's helping them to make behavioral changes. It's helping yourself to be the best version of yourself, to just really show up. And today about behavior is really a key aspect. And the presuppositions of NLP that Ariel's going to teach today are really, they're assumptions or general assumptions that are useful in all areas of life. So whether you're a professional coach or you're into helping other people, you just want to help yourself or be a better salesperson, and we're all salespeople, we're all selling something. So it's really just a great tool to help you. And we have a saying that it's kind of like the user's manual for your mind. And it's really, NLP wasn't so much created as it was discovered and unpacked from the way that people model excellence in this world. So, if someone else can do it and it can be modeled, then it can be duplicated. And these are really the tools of duplication that a lot of very famous presenters and trainers and politicians and actors and actresses from all over the world are using these tools, whether they call it this or not. So you're going to get kind of a little bit of behind the scenes tools that you can use to positively impact all areas of your life.
And so why don't we go over a little bit of NLP, just a brief explanation, since it's Matthew's first time hearing this term. So Neuro-Linguistic Programming. So what it is, I like to explain it, it's almost like computer, right? Imagine like computer, you have this brand new computer, it has no program. So the computer is just plain, like nothing there. And because of all the stuff, like the programmers physically put into the computer, so the computer has program now. So when it has program, like you can, maybe double click a folder, the folder will open. So because of all the program now, the computer have certain response to your input. So when you do the input and then they go through the programming and then they go out like the output. So just like computer, we have program in our mind too. And some by choice, if we learn the empowerment of NLP, hypnosis, we can do it by choice. But a lot of them are not by choice. So really a lot of programming coming from our age 0 to 7. That's before we're really capable of reasoning, critical thinking. So we were programmed by our environment, by our parents, by our surroundings, or we're programmed by a lot of, emotional significant event, meaning sometimes traumas. Sometimes, maybe it's not very pleasant. Maybe, people pass away. Maybe there's almost a lot of other things. And sometimes it's by positive things, like we link certain, sensations to happiness, to like love, to success, to joy, or to other like negative side. So really, this is the programming part. We have like computer. So what NLP does, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, it's like a language pattern like we use to reprogram our neural, which is our mind. So it's like we have input from one side, and then we kind of see, hear, feel, touch, taste, smell it, and then we go through this program, like we run, and then we have output, which is for us is our behavior. And our behavior leads to results, either good or bad, right? And really NLP, it's a language, it's a gift that empower us to reprogram our mind, our mindset, our neural connections. So in the future, the same events happen, like the same stimuli, the same input happen. We can, because of the new program, we can choose how we respond, what our behaviors are, like how, and then because of, we can choose our behavior and we can choose our results. And then it can go like a very positive spiral, like it can keep going up, like things coming in, like maybe it's, I don't know, traffic, like a lot of people don't like traffic, but imagine you can learn to like traffic and just really be at peace with it. And then the output, the behavior, you arrive at work, it's the same scenario, but you arrive at work with peace and love. And then imagine like how your behavior would be like this whole day, like, you know, you're just loving everyone, you're just really happy, and then your results, because you do all these things, and then people would respond to that, and you have a positive experience of the whole day. So that reinforces the next time you go maybe into traffic again, you're like, oh, this is good, because of all this reinforcement. So that's kind of like my way of explaining NLP. I hope that makes sense to everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great.
That was cool, Ariel. It reminds me of when I used to have to commute about an hour and a half every day, and sometimes it would be up to 2 hours if there was traffic, right? But then I discovered audiobooks, and I was like, bring it on, because it just gave me a chance to listen to another couple of chapters in the book. And that sometimes I would arrive and sit in my car listening for another half an hour, you know, so it's flexibility, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's like, we always have a choice how we respond to our environment, the events happen in our life, or other people, how they treat us. We always have a choice. And so today we're going to talk about presuppositions. So presuppositions is the foundation of NLP. And Claudia, did you raise your hand?
I have a question. Are the results like always like that instant, or there's sometimes that a behavior is just has so many roots that you need to keep on working, or is usually like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to answer your question, it depends. It really depends. It depends on like the scenario, what type of behavior and how deep it's rooted inside you, right? So for in order for the programming to work really well, like very like clean, like almost like a computer, right? If the computer has too much stuff like stored, if you never clean the computer, you never delete all the files you don't use, sometimes it's jammed. It just you can install a new program, but when you double click it, it's slow.
No space.
Right? It is slow, right? So our mind is very similar, or I mean, actually computer models our mind, is how it's created. But basically when we have a lot of stuff inside us, sometimes it's difficult. It's slower. Like sometimes, a lot of times I find clients' experiences like they will learn the tool, and because they never done the deep cleaning part of themselves, and they will go into the situation, and maybe someone says something, like maybe they feel hurt, they take it personal, they reacted right away. But once they reacted, they said something maybe a little bit not so desirable, and afterward, they were like, oh shoot, I knew how to do it. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. It happens sometimes, but that's because usually if we do the deep work, like which you learn if you come to an NLP practitioner, or you work with Kyle, Marco, and myself, we'll make sure that the stuff around is cleaned. So if it's clean, then the channel is very easy, so you can just right away, like automatically run the program quickly and effectively.
So to stick with the metaphor of the computer, there's a lot of NLP techniques that are kind of like antivirus software. You know, you run them once and they kind of clean up all the little glitches in the system. There's, you know, there's everything from phobia cures to like, you know, new behavior generators to, you know, changing your personal history. So there's all kinds of things you can do to reshape all of the things that have happened to you. They're all resources in your life, and there's ways to apply them. So we're going to get into a couple of, I think Ariel's going to get into a couple of the behavioral aspects of it today. But really, we're just in the presuppositions to give you a framework of what the possibilities are with NLP. So that was a great question, Claudia.
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, feel free to ask questions. Just raise your hand so I can see you. And,
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. And what else? Oh, presupposition. So there are beliefs, and there are beliefs of NLP. And you can choose to believe it, or you can choose not to believe it. They're just nothing but beliefs. But what we found as NLP is those beliefs help us to work with ourselves, help us to work with others, and help us to produce results. So it's almost like with math, we just assume 1 + 1 = 2 is true. So here we just assume all the presuppositions are true for NLP. Okay, so now I'm gonna jump to the first one up today, and then if you have questions, you can relate, feel free to share. So the first one is called, everyone is doing the best they can with the resources they have available. Everyone is doing the best they can with the resources they have available. So what does that mean? Like, why is it important to understand this frame? So wouldn't it be great, like, if you can, instead of, you know, judging people, you can coming from a place of compassion of people. Maybe with your family, with your work people, sometimes clients, sometimes even people on the street. Sometimes when you see like their behavior, you're like, why that is, right? Instead of judging them. So this frame is really a very empowerment frame. It's very empowerment for our mindset. In NLP, so in NLP's model of the world, there's every behavior, it's positive. Every behavior has a positive intent. Like, no matter how absurd it sounds like, even, you know, like, I'm gonna use some extreme examples, even the people who are, you know, they're doing things like, if they're terrorists, like, but still, they're doing the behavior, being terrorists, is to make themselves feel important. But, you know, this every behavior has a positive intent, and sometimes people create disease in their body. But really, if you dig into the disease, which we'll cover, like to learn about how to do, like, you know, pain paradigm to cure the physical discomfort, every physical discomfort has a positive intent of sharing with you what the knowledge, the learnings, the wisdom, or the events, the emotions you didn't pay attention to. So even you know, the sickness, they have positive intent. Like, it's kind of hard to really grasp until you really fully understand what it is, like, in terms of, you know, like how humans are designed, like what's intention behind things. And if those extremes are true, you know, that's why people are doing it. There are things, you know, people are doing, maybe they in an argument, right? Sometimes we run into like discussions, we run into disagreements. Some people may start attacking you. Like, instead of arguing things, like reason things, they will start attack you. And if we didn't know, like, this presupposition, this new belief, we would feel defensive. Like, it's almost like they're like punching you, like immediately you're like self-defense, like, oh no, like they're like, oh, you are no good, you're being unreasonable. You're like, no, you're being unreasonable, you're even worse than me. Like, you start this battling because you didn't understand, you know, what they're trying to do. And in communication, we say there are only two purposes of communication. So communication, the first purpose is to share love, is to share love. You know, like I have a critical mother, like her way of sharing love is to just criticize me, like criticize the environment, criticize the, like just, you know, commenting on things. But I learned later that's her way of showing love, because for her, if she point out what's not right, and in her mind, that can help you to become a better person. So, but it's really just about showing love, and then people, you know, sometimes they complain things about you, but this really their way of showing love. They care for you. That's why they take the time to even you know commenting on your behavior or like criticizing. Yes, Claudia.
Can NLP change a behavior like that? Like her way to show love?
Mm-hmm.
It's her way. Is in her heart, right? That's how she chose love.
Yeah.
But, can you just change that with NLP?
Yeah, that's great question. Great question.
Because it's not, maybe it's not on her mind, it's in her heart. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's two things you can change in that scenario. You can change her behavior, or you can change your reaction to that. Like Ariel just noticed, you know, that she understands that's how her mother is. So instead of trying to change her mother, she changes her response to it and the meaning that she attaches to it. So I don't know, Ariel, do you think it would be appropriate for everybody to share a behavior that they do that they might think is kind of negative or unresourceful, and then we can help them to get to what the positive intention is behind that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, why don't we share, like, so we can be more specific. Is that okay with everyone? So we can work on specific things as we go along. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So who
would like to
Ladies
share?
first. Ladies first.
Lady first.
Oh, yeah.
A behavior that we want to change?
Well,
Behavior,
something that you do that you think is kind of a negative behavior that maybe you wish you didn't do.
Like how you react to something.
yeah, how you react to something. Yeah, how you interact with people, but you don't like the certain reaction. We can work
Or
on.
even, you know, like I use this all the time when I help people stop smoking. That, you know, it's a very negative behavior or perceived as a negative behavior, but people have a positive reason for smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And they just need to apply that to some other more resourceful behavior.
Procrastination?
Okay, procrastination. Good. That's very usual. Like, yeah, procrastination. On what? Like, in particular, what things? Because some things are good to procrastinate, you know? Like,
Procrastination in the things that are most important. If there's a list, if there is something that needs to be done right now,
mm-hmm.
I start doing the things that are less important. I don't know why. It's like it's a pattern.
Everybody does. Yeah.
Everybody does. Okay. Yeah, everybody does. Just, you know, you're not alone. It's very, it's not unusual at all. Like, but there are specific tools we'll share with you later before this call ends that would help. Okay. Who like to go?
Or maybe another one that if everybody procrastinates, then another one is that.
Well, I think that's a good one to work with.
It's a great one to work with.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just saying, like Ariel said, you're not alone.
Yeah, it's more.
But I think I am the queen.
Sending love. It's about loving energy here. So compassion. That's great. So who would like to go next?
I guess this is a good question, and you really gotta like dive into yourself, you know, figure these things out. Being a better listener, I guess. I find myself sometimes when I'm in a, let's say, heated discussion with my significant other, she'll be, you know, going off on a tangent about something, and I know that I need to let her finish, but I just want to get to the point, and I tend to interrupt because I have the answer, or I already know that, you know, she's got to talk it out, but I'm already like, no, let me just explain. So I will like jump in and I'll throw her off, and she'll get upset, and then it's like a whole thing of like, but if you just like, I got the answer and I already know, and it's just like, so I just have to like sit and center and wait. And so I work on the whole, like, letting someone finish.
And how many of you can relate to that?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So these are great topics that when we work with these, and it's the same process to help all of these actually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Matthew, what's something you'd like to make a shift?
Well, something, I don't know how big picture it is in my life, but something that happened yesterday, and my ADD, it doesn't get out of my head fast enough. But I'm from the old school. I'm 54 and not the highest educated guy, not the best speaker or writer at all. I have a language disorder, actually. And with this new world that we're dealing with, the millennials, and they're very educated, very technical, and very human rights. You just say something on a like or something, and you could be attacked by that person saying, that's inappropriate. You can't share that thought. You have to think about this and this and this. So they'll share their education with you and try to abuse you to make you look better, you think, or they may be trying to help you to be more appropriate because they like you, right? You don't know. Texting and messaging is the worst communication on the planet. But of course I took it as schmuck. I shouldn't have said anything about kids and assume that this person will have kids, right? But I didn't mean that. The person had a dog in her hand, and I was like, oh, marriage, congratulations. Ah, I see, children, ? And she took it as, oh, you're assuming I'm going to have children, and that's inappropriate. And she went on and on and on, this whole paragraph. So do you get it? This isn't unusual for me. I'll get one of those every other day if I wrote back to somebody. So I have to be very cautious of sharing my thoughts today.
So it's more about communication, especially with text messages.
Yeah.
Seems like you've been getting some interesting response there.
Yeah, big problem. Text messaging. Yeah, I think that this is the best way to communicate. Talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we still have miscommunication.
Yeah.
But not like texting.
Mm-hmm. And how many of you had the text message become misunderstanding before? Like big times, yeah. So it's very common, Matthew. Just FYI, because as later on we'll go into our report, our communication model. You learn like really the verbal only accounts for 7% of the communication, yeah. And body language is the most, 55%, and voice is the second, and yeah. And really only words alone, only 7%. And that's kind of partially explaining why it's text is not very powerful in terms of emotional communication, or anytime things may go wrong. Like anytime there's a joke, it's hard to make joke on text because you don't know what people are gonna take you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can we do a quick exercise with this, Ariel?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we can, at first I want to explain to you something. Okay, so this presupposition, and after that we'll do the exercise with you, with Mark. This presupposition, everyone is doing the best they can with the resources they have available, also applies to you guys. Apply it to yourself. So even like, we have problems, with texting, with not listening, with procrastination, but you are also doing the best you can with the resources you have available. So the reason you're doing them is just only because you haven't learned the technique how to do it differently yet. So this is a forgiveness frame in NLP. And forgiveness frame comes from forgiving yourself first. Have a lot of compassion for yourself, knowing you had the best intention, but you just really have limited resources. And because of that, you can forgive other people because they are also doing the best they can with their resources. They're trying their best intention, but they haven't learned the right language, maybe for love, maybe for communication, maybe, for acting to produce behavior quickly. Just It just it's more power to it. Yeah.
Sure.
Mark, would you like to lead the exercise?
Yeah, and I just thought maybe if I can get this done real quick, which I'm going to do my best, maybe you can and do the forgiveness frame, you know, a little bit of a quick timeline shift to help them just release that. I think that.
Yeah, we'll see how we do about time, but otherwise
Yeah.
we'll definitely go into it in the future.
So one of the cool things with NLP is that, you know, there's different levels of understanding, and we call that the language that we use is called chunk size. So if something is more like big picture, we call that a big chunk, and if something is detailed, we call that a small chunk. So it's chunking up to a bigger size or down to a smaller size. So when you look at the behavior that you're doing, and everyone can apply this to your own, but I think all three of you kind of share each of these, as do we all. So if you look at, you know, procrastination, what's the benefit of procrastination, Claudia? What does that do for you? What does that do for you that's more important?
I think I'm always telling myself, you're lazy. What is the benefit of procrastination? I don't know. There is something that I was talking with my sister the other day. It's like, oh my God, I always work better under pressure. No, and my psychology teacher used to say, when you work under pressure and one time you get it done right, then your brain gets programmed to do it right. In college, we had 3 weeks to get a project done, and I only started working on that project 7 p.m. the night before, and I worked all night under pressure, and all the creativity came, and my project was the #1 project in the class, and it was amazing. So now that is recorded, like now I can work under pressure, things like the taxes, like you have 1 year to do your taxes. Nope, I just did them last week. And I was lucky because I didn't know the due date was on October 15. I took them October 13. I said, are you kidding me? I thought I had the whole month of October. I was lucky this time. But under pressure, I got my taxes done in like 30 minutes, something that I procrastinated. So it's like a heavy weight that I know I have to do it. You know, you have to, this little thing on the floor, you just walk over that. But you know that if you have visitors, you work under pressure, and your house is just the most beautiful house in the entire town, because I work under pressure because I have been, maybe that worked better, great for me. So maybe that's the program that I have, that I procrastinate and everything with the kids and with my clients. And I always have the perfect answer. I know I'm procrastinating and giving this album to the client, but I always have kind of like a working the perfect way just to work the client, that he doesn't even realize that I procrastinated, you know. And I don't like that of me, and I judge myself, and I'm always telling myself, yeah, you're so lazy. Yeah, of course you're procrastinating. Of course. So yeah, it's not good.
Right. So just in listening to what you just said, what happens is when you procrastinate, it creates more of an urgent deadline that's approaching really quick. And what that really does is it helps you to do your best. You perform your best when you have a really tight deadline.
Yes.
Right. When the due date is like immediate, you perform your best in that moment. So really your procrastination, the intention behind it would be to help you to do your best, would it not?
Yes.
Right. So the behavioral flexibility part now is for you to investigate, okay, are there ways that you can do your best without having to procrastinate? I mean, some people, you know, set artificial deadlines, or they give themselves, they can take a big project and kind of make it into smaller pieces and create individual, you know, finish times for each of those, so that you do the best at each one of those tasks. And then overall, you're not feeling all that, pressure that you're creating an inner stimulus rather than an external stimulus that it has to be done by this state. So it puts you more in a proactive state versus a reactive state. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but if I put a fake due date in the back of my head, I know.
Right. I hear you on that. And you know, I think we all share that, but a lot of times in the procrastination, or even if you don't shift the behavior, just the awareness that the positive intention behind the procrastination, which is really the point of this exercise, to help you understand that even though it's a negative behavior, or on the surface seems like a negative behavior, procrastinating, no, that's not good to procrastinate, but yet it helps you to be great at what you're doing. It helps you to deliver excellence and to really perform at your best when the time actually comes to perform.
I would be flying if I tell my brain, you can be very creative every single day of your life, not only when you have a a due date.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that more, like as we go further, because we haven't really got into the technique part yet. And then you'll be able to learn some tips, and or even better, if you come to the practitioner training, you learn everything.
Right. So Joshua, sorry, Ariel, Joshua, real quick. So what do you think is the benefit to you, or what's your intention behind cutting someone off in what they're saying, so that you can jump in and share what you want to share?
Well, first of all, I don't know if there's any benefit to that.
If there was a benefit,
Sure.
what would you guess it to be?
Sure.
A quick end result that I have an answer. I mean, like it's not necessarily that I'm always right. It's just sometimes you're listening to someone and you know where they're going, and you know how this can end because you have an answer. And I guess it's like I want to end this conflict with a quick resolution, and I want to better the situation now. So
what's
maybe
the benefit to you of ending the conflict with a quicker resolution?
Say it again.
What's the benefit to you of ending the conflict with a quicker resolution?
I guess the situation resolved. There's no more argument. It's done. I feel better. I feel like I've helped or something. I don't know. I guess the benefit would be, that we're coming to an end on this situation, and I'm trying to give you a nugget. I'm trying to give you something. I'm trying to help this situation. I don't know.
All right. So what's the benefit to you of giving that?
I feel like I'm better. I don't know. I'm struggling with an answer on that. I feel better about myself. I feel like I'm helping. I don't know.
Okay, so to feel better about yourself, to have that resolution, right? That's what you want. But when you look at how that behavior is working for you, right? It's got a positive intention behind it. That's what we're looking at, right? So the positive intention is to end the argument, to create a resolution, to feel better about yourself.
Correct.
But then when you step back and look at it, how is that working for you in that approach?
Good. It's complete opposite. It derails the conversation, and we start over. It's, and then I have to backtrack, and it's just like, okay, well, I hear what you're saying, but why don't you just let me finish? And it's this whole thing. I'm like, I'm sorry. I felt like you're being very long-winded right now, and I really wanted to get to the end.
So maybe there's some additional tools that you can exercise, because you never know. I mean, I've had situations like that, and sometimes if you let the person just say another 2 or 3 sentences, they're done. Right? It's not even so much about active listening as much as it is just about listening. Sometimes people don't even want the resolution to it; they just want to be heard.
That speaks for a lot of women.
I agree. That's right.
So maybe you're better off answering that one.
But sometimes women just like
miscommunicated with tons of women. I can tell you that for sure.
Sometimes
I'm
it's
not
just not
perfect.
sharing. It's not
You know,
sharing.
but
Yeah, it's like it's your phone.
does that help you to understand, at least, Joshua? Not, you know, the purpose of this class is not to resolve your issues, although if we can do that, great. But it's to just give you a better understanding about this presupposition that even though that's on the surface a negative behavior, there's a positive intention behind it. You just want to get the results. You just want to resolve the issue. You just want to feel good, and ideally, I'm sure, have the other person feel good as well.
Yeah.
But that sequence of behaviors is not working. So my homework to you is to kind of just think about what you, like, if you could pre-plan it, right? What would you do differently next time? That's the key to behavioral change, is having alternative behaviors. So you can't change the behavior until you know what you're going to change it to.
Mm-hmm.
So do a little thinking on that one as to what would work better. What can you change within yourself? What behavior would be more effective in that situation for that outcome, to get you the results, to end the conflict quickly and easily, and where both of you are happy. So it's a win-win scenario and the other person doesn't feel cut off.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Practice.
Okay, so we got a couple more minutes, and then I just want to hear from Matthew, and I got about 3 minutes, right, Ariel?
Well, we have 7:40 right now, so
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. So to Joshua, really quick, my saying is you got to shut up and listen. Listen, you got to let them vent out, and the pressure cooker's vented. Then you win. You don't have to say a word. Don't say anything. I do what you do. It doesn't freaking work.
Okay.
It doesn't work.
I'm working on this.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
This
doesn't
coming
work.
from Matthew, who's a great coach, by the way.
I do it exactly like you. Thanks, Mark. I do it exactly like you. It doesn't work. I learned that the hard way. It does not work. So what's the benefit of me getting hurt or being upset that someone took my communication the wrong way, or I did communicate the wrong way? What's the positive of that? The positive is I'm aware of it, at least, right?
Good.
And I guess I need to be more peace and love and nurturing, and I wrote down some words, compassionate, that's a good, right? And empathy. I should assume the more positive thing, that they're trying to help me rather than hurt me.
Right. So when you're sending that text, what was your intention in sending that text that way?
Congratulations, just that's it, just excitement. Congratulations, that's it. I think it's awesome when people have something good in their lives. Too much bad news, I don't watch the news anymore. So if they're getting married, had a baby, I think that's great. I think even if you don't know the person, you can say, hey, happy birthday. It takes a second. Or congratulations. Or, oh, I love the dog. I have a dog too.
So what is the benefit to you of doing that, of reaching out in that way? And you're great at doing that, by the way.
Yeah. So they know that I care. I can relate to that. I want to feel that, I want them to feel good about the common interest or the relation, and communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you can see, just in the words you use, the positive intention is that you want to communicate that to them. You want them to feel good. You want them to be, aware that you recognize their accomplishments, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you said it better than
good that you share it with other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So really, there's a positive intention behind that, and it's a great positive intention. So I'm going to give you similar homework to what I gave Joshua. Is just think about, how you can maybe take an extra couple of minutes, and instead of the enthusiastic reaction to their news, take another minute or so and figure out what's the best way to communicate with them. So we covered, I don't know if it was last week or a couple of weeks ago, in one of the prior classes, we covered that the meaning of the communication is the response that it elicits in the other person. So your intention is great, but if the other person doesn't get the communication the way you intended it, then you need to change the way that you communicate so that they do get it. you know, if you want to more effectively communicate with that particular person. That
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
Makes sense. Great. Great. So let's talk about, there's two more we want to cover today, which is very related to what we just shared. The next one is the calibrate on behavior. The most important information about a person is that person's behavior. So this is also a powerful frame, because in NLP, we don't judge the person. Like, we don't say like the person is broken. We assume everyone is whole. But just because of the program sometimes not installed right, therefore their behavior needs adjustment. So we say, you know, love the person, accept the person, and calibrate on behavior. And in terms of our life right now, like, we can really only have full control over who? Other people or ourselves. We can only have full control over ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the first person we need to calibrate on behavior, it's ourselves. So we accept ourselves, we accept all the positive intentions, as you saw, like your behavior had for you, all the good intentions behind it. We accept it. This is who you are. Really love, kindness, compassion, all these good things. And then we only want to fine tune the behavior, so that produce the results that the other person also feels that, or your future self also feels that. Just calibrate on the behavior, and then the homework is for you guys to plan this behavior, what you want to have instead, and then see if you can reroute it and try it on practice, and just try it out. And another one is people have all the resources they need to succeed and to achieve their desired outcomes. There are no unresourceful people, only unresourceful states. So this one is worked closely with the other two. It presupposes that we have everything we need available to us. So it's almost like our, other than conscious mind, our unconscious mind has this perfect blueprint of health, of happiness, of achievement inside us. And just really for us to go inside and really find out what it is. It's already installed in us. And just for us to find out, to go back to ourself and find those resources.
So I have a saying that I use with my clients, that a resource is only a resource if you use it resourcefully. So really what that means, it's kind of a play on words, but really what it means is you have all these resources. There's where you're at and there's where you want to be. And the gap of what it takes to get there is to apply the resources that you already have within your life, but it's just a matter of applying them. So sometimes it's just recognizing that you do have the resource, that you do have the ability to do it. Like, to use a quick example with Matthew, he's a great communicator, right? So he's got all those resources. He teaches people how to more effectively communicate through his Hey Coach program. He's helped people to learn effective ways to sell, and, you know, from start to finish. So he's got all of those resources. Now, just with this new technology, it's shaping the communication skills that you already have, those great resources that you already have, and applying it in a way that works even better for you. Does that make sense?
And a lot of, in NLP, one of the ways, like we say NLP works because it's already inside you, and then we're really doing the process of finding it out again, like to make you connect with the resources again, like in a resourceful way. And one of the ways we use very effective in NLP, it's called modeling. And modeling, what it is you can, like, you know, if you don't have it in you, if you have it in you, basically what you do is you go back to a time like when you feel you're not procrastinating. You're full on, you're very determined, you're very like motivated. You find that time. And or you go to the time like when you have perfect communication with your significant others, when this flows, it's just everything seems to just be in harmony. Like you're doing however you're doing, and then she's happy and all those things. Or you find a time when you're perfectly communicating with other people, even with texts, the things just flow. It was good, like it's happy, both people are happy. So you can go back to those times. It's called a model of excellence. Like this is how you already know how to do it right in a way. And in case if you don't have that in your life happen yet, you can always find someone else who has done it before. There must be people who's always motivated. There's people who's great with their significant others. There's people who are great with texts. Like you just kind of go find those people, and then dig deeper and finding, you know, what behavior they're doing. Like what kind of behavior they're doing, like in terms of, you know, behavior, including, you know, their thinking, what they're thinking in their brain, where's their physiology, like how they, you know, where's their head, their body, their shoulder, their breathing, and what do they say? What's their voice like? Verbally, what do they say to themselves or other people? And what behavior they produce because of all this the base they set. So if you don't have that, you know, to write down your plan of this to resolve the challenge you have, and you can find this model either in yourself or in other people. Like,
if you can recognize it, that you're missing that resource, it means either A, you already have it, or you know someone who does have it, that you're comparing yourself to. I used to have this at this time in my life, but I don't have it now. Well, it's still there. It's just a matter of reshaping it and reapplying it. Or you can see someone else does something in a way that is maybe perceived as better than the way that you are doing it currently, and you want to do it better. So the easiest way to recognize the resource is to notice what source is it coming from? What source is that information coming from? And then you want to resource it, right? So if you see someone else has a behavior or a style or a way of communicating or a way of getting themselves motivated to do their best without having to procrastinate, or a way of communicating with significant others, there's tons of classes on it. Trust me, I've taken a lot of them and I'm still working on it. But if you see someone else has very resourceful states, you can look at the source of where you're perceiving that from, and do your best to model that source, and then have it resourced within you. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like calibrate, almost like, you know, when the guitar is out of tune, you just recalibrate it, and that's what you're doing.
We've got about 9 minutes left, Ariel.
Yeah. So so we want to finish in time. So why don't we do this? Why don't we go around and you can kind of share, like maybe things you like about what you like about, and or even things that you have plans what you're gonna do about your challenge you shared. So we're gonna do a round of sharing so we can close on time for everyone.
You just share your takeaway or any additional questions you have about some of the things we taught today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna recalibrate my brain to count to 10, maybe even 20, maybe even 30 before I even like have that initial trigger to try to like jump in on something. You know, it's like I just want to get to the end of something, so I'm just going to take a breath, wait, finish, can know what I'm gonna say, but like listen and then wait and then respond. So
are you going to try that this week?
I'm probably have to try it today.
Oh, good. Great.
I'm all
Cool.
yeah.
How it goes.
Starting now.
Starting now. Yeah.
Yep.
When would now be a good time to play with that?
Yeah, well, you know, I got this beautiful woman in my life. We're having a baby, and it's happening at lightning speed, and we're just figuring each other out while we're figuring this baby out, and it's just a flux of emotions, and it's just amazing. Like we're both excited, but you know, we just kind of like did it pretty fast, but we're both in a place where we're ready for it. So it's just a whole new thing, you know, and so we're figuring a lot of stuff out together, and I've had a few moments where I've jumped in. So this is work, and this is good, and this is good learning. So I will definitely work on this today. And from here on out. More so.
Together was the key word I got from that, Joshua. Together.
Yeah,
Right?
she's pretty awesome. I don't mean to talk anything negative about her. She's pretty awesome. It's just we're doing a lot really fast.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Exciting time. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's awesome. Claudia,
Claudia.
you're
I
on.
don't know. I just saw a video 2 nights ago where he said, why do we move too much when we start meditating? So he said our body is like an animal. So just say, no, don't move, stay. So that kind of like clicked in my mind. And since then I've been more, my meditation have changed. But I think that for the procrastination, I think I'm trying to play the role of being the mom of myself, or being the owner of myself, and say, just sit down, make this album, and once my finger goes to Facebook, or goes to my email, or goes to the bank account, or just my butt goes to the coffee, just say, no, stay, don't move, do it. I don't know, that's what I've been trying to do this for 2 days, and I will keep doing it to see what happens.
What's your takeaway or a tool that you used from the class today?
That is, I should not be judging myself, because I'm doing it for a reason. Kind of like the girl inside of me saying, you're so creative, like this is so amazing. So let's wait, because like 24 hours before the due date, you just got this like magical. It's like if I had a magical pill. I have no idea how it comes, but the creativity in everything, I find my ways. You could put me in the desert and I can make water in the middle of the desert, but give me a due date to do it. And I'm just amazed. So maybe the girl inside of me says what you just said. The positive intention is, you do it. You're very creative only those 24 hours before the due date. So maybe by trying to recognizing this, and trying to maybe open the window a little bit more, and training myself and saying, no, just stay, do it. But I'm not sure the creativity is going to come the same way.
No, you can. This is like, I guess you probably went through some like more inner child work, and it's just like you can negotiate with the little girl. It's not set yet. Like really, our unconscious mind, like if you let it lead your body, it has intelligence of 4 years old. So you can negotiate with it, and then show her in a gentle way, but who's the boss?
So Matthew, what's your takeaway from the class today?
I got to wait till it says 10:57, so I have 3 minutes like the last time. I work better under pressure, Claudia. I got 3 minutes, now I got 2 minutes. So really quick, my big mouth, because I love helping people. That makes me feel better. Need for approval is huge. Claudia, you ever hear the 5-second rule? 3 set, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take action, right? That's
Mel Robbins.
Yep, there you go, Mel. She's awesome. I do 3, 2, 1. I need 3, 2, 1. 5, 2, 1's too long. I have massive ADD, so I do 3, 2, 1, and I act, or I stop acting because I need to get to the next thing, and that's it. Try to get things done now. And the list you were saying is awesome. Most people I know are going to do the things that fastest and easiest so they feel more accomplished for the day. But the most important thing is you do what's called the most paid time activity. What is going to make you the most money or make you the most productive that day? Do it first. Take that other stuff off your list. And if you don't think you're going to do it within 3 days, take it off your list altogether. Don't even waste your time. Maybe you'll forget it and then you don't even need to do it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right,
How
cool.
I'm
about
going to coach
yourself,
you now.
Matthew?
What's your takeaway from
What
this?
is
Yeah,
your
I'm gonna-
takeaway?
Great sharing with everyone
showing
else.
you. I'm showing you right now. This is why. And then Joshua, really simple. I swore when I was a kid, never, ever, I'm going to say, yes, dear. I swore I would never say yes, dear. That's a long story why. But I got married. I met my wife at 33, got married at 35, and found out really fast. I married Sicilian, Italian, beautiful. Beautiful is usually bad, so watch out for that. And I said yes, dear. And that changed my life. The second thing I did is I have to shut up and listen, because I'm like you. I go, I want the answer, and then explain why.
Right.
You don't have to say anything, Joshua, and you will get your result. Don't say a freaking word, because she doesn't care. She just wants to vent how she feels, and then she'll be satisfied you listen. That's called active listening, what Mark was saying. All right, so what the hell did I get out of this is I know all the sales stuff, but the NLP part of the sales stuff that I'm explaining is go back to being compassionate, nurturing, necessarily what they said. I might try to find another question to ask them or try to find a result when I don't have to, when I have to ask them a question based on to make sure I understood the emotion. Why did they say that or ask that, or why did they respond to what I said, rather than assuming a negative, rather than assuming me being hurt. So I need to focus more on the compassionate and empathy. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Yeah, cool. So what was their intention behind the communication? So even though you might not have agreed with the way they were doing it or their response, but what was their intention behind that? It can give you the opportunity to dig a little deeper and help resolve a bigger issue for them even.
Yeah, we both learned from it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
And
cool.
I hope, so now it's 8 o'clock. We're going to close this meeting. I hope you guys all took something of value from today's little workshop here.
Yeah,
And
thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you.
Next time,
Yeah.
next Wednesday, we'll see you again.
Yeah,
Thank
come
you.
back next week, same time, and invite friends. They're welcome.
Yeah, you might
Just let us
friends
know.
who you think will benefit from NLP in this process. Okay, and
Thank you. Connect on
Until then,
LinkedIn. Matthew.
enjoy with yourself, live with love.
Thanks. Be well. Peace.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being
Bye.
here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.